Brady's a really humble kid. I don't think anyone would gather that he has this really cool talent just by hanging out with him.
Joggling itself, it's gotten to the point where it's just like running, basically. I actually started at about the same time. Like, a little bit of context, this is during the pandemic. I was very bored, so I decided to go outside and run, and also decided to pick up juggling. And about a year and a half later, I decided I was good enough to combine the two, which I thought was an innovation. You know, I made that up in my mind, but then I found out it was like 50 years old, so I decided to keep going.
He gets into a rhythm when he's doing it, which I think allows him to just do it perpetually as he's running.
There's a rhythm in running that like I picked up after a while. It's just, I run at a very consistent cadence. But juggling, I can mess with my cadence. But I realized that the cadences could be the same. So now when I joggle, I lift one knee and like I kind of throw one ball and they're very synced.
Running a hard race is, you know, it's a hard thing to do, but then also throwing juggling on top of that is just something even more challenging.
I came out to this track a lot, like on my own, just to practice running in circles. And eventually I went from like the circles to like sharper angles, and now I can do pretty much whatever.
His juggling times are almost similar to his regular times. Like he's able to run almost at max speed while juggling. It's just super impressive.
I get a lot of odd looks, but during races it's a lot more fun.
I'm part of the road race committee for Celebrate West Hartford, and he asked if he could run the 5K. So we talked about it at the committee. We said, all right, this guy wants to juggle the whole way. Where should we put him on the start line? Like 1,000 people run this race. So we decided to put him way in the back. The problem was he ran like 20 minutes and he passed like 900 people during the race, so it was a really bad decision. We should have just let him start up front. He was totally fine. He can do it around a crowd of people, he can do it on his own, he can do it on a trail, he can do it on the track, and he almost never drops the ball. It's amazing.
And the other guys get a kick out of that when they're like fully racing, and he's racing but he's also juggling as well. And they all sort of have a game of like trying not to lose to him while he's juggling and they're just running.
Frankie DeWander, he raced me in Jamie's run while I was juggling and lost by a few seconds. I like to mention that, just entirely on the record. Frankie, you're faster than me in every other race we've ever raced, but that one counts the most.
Not just speaking about the joggling, but just the running. He's gotten better every year, and that's just a testament to the work that he's put in. And then you throw the juggling on top of it all. It's really, really cool just to see him progress from where he was and where he's going.
I've done, I believe, a 500, an 800, a K, a mile and a 2 mile and a 5K while juggling, all of which I think were relatively possible. I do want to push it eventually to like higher distances, you know, like a 10K, half marathon maybe.
I think for years I've kept this desire to run and juggle in the Boston Marathon a little bit of a personal secret or goal of mine. And hearing more and more about Brady has kept me thinking about it whenever I bring up the fact that I have juggled.
Woo! You guys are doing great! Nice work.
A friend of mine, a running partner in college when I was going to school at Northeastern up in Boston, he and I would run all the time. We were on the Northeastern Running Club. We ran together all over the city, and he and I wanted to run the Boston Marathon. He ended up passing away from leukemia when we were in college, and it was a huge loss. And I think whenever someone goes through a big loss, you try to find a way to get through it and a way to remember them. And juggling was something he and I both could do. He was a really silly, optimistic guy. His name was Eric. Going through his treatment, he wanted to raise money for Dana-Farber where he went. I saw a perfect fit, and when I learned what joggling was, that it would be a really perfect way to remember him by, and it gave me a good opportunity over the years to raise money for Dana-Farber in his memory.
In our minds, at least, he's created this sport that does exist in places, but none of us here had ever seen this before.
Hall track team and cross country team is wonderful. It's kept me going. Like, I can just sort of zone out and I'm 3 miles away all of a sudden and I haven't dropped. It's like a game, you know, it's fun.
I think if I learned anything from that short time I had with Eric was to not take life too seriously and to take it with have fun, have a positive attitude, even in the face of some really tough things. So, you know, running has always been a really good outlet for me. It's been a really good fit for me. I've met amazing people. I've seen amazing places with running. And this is a new challenge, and runners always like challenges. And I'm sure it's not for everybody, but I think running is for most people, and I think it's a great way to get out and do something hard and good to try things that you're not quite sure you can finish.